And at the end of 40 days, Jesus was hungry, and angels came to minister to him. After 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness, competing thoughts, competing wants and needs are stilled. Now, at the end of Lent, we will have found that that is very, very hard for us. Because we have, even when we quieten our bodies and quieten our rooms, we have the din of our minds doing what they're designed to do, to think. But when we try to still them, they will not be quietened easily. We have to persevere in that. It takes a long, long time for our mind to be stilled, to see what is actually there, not simply our mind processing the data which it receives, but to find out, if you like, what's in our heart, what are our foundational principles, what are the things that motivate us, what are the passions within us. For sure, we all have all the passions within us. Everybody is capable of everything. Everyone is capable of everything. So those passions within us, we know that when they're given the right catalyst, the right external circumstances, they will come to the surface. And there we fight. We fight for virtue and we fight against vice. It's our will to decide one way or the other, for virtue or for vice. And the passion coming to the surface is the place of our battle. But we should know at the end of Lent that we are not good at this, that our hearts are divided, that our minds not only won't be still, but they tend to lead us towards satisfying my ego. The stain, the results of original sin are still to be seen. Knowing our poverty and our weakness in this matter is a good thing. Our failure is a good thing, because we will realize that I cannot do this. And so I ask the Lord to do this in me. If I keep saying, I can do this, I don't need the Lord. But when we know we can't, then we ask him. And he fights for us. It's our work to fill our minds with things that are noble and pure and good and beautiful and deserve praise, and then the God of peace will dwell with us. Now, the normal way, the normal means of this is to receive the Blessed Sacrament. In confession, we declare our poverty, our inability, and our hunger. And in the Eucharist, we are fed and we are strengthened by the Lord. And in prayer, we learn to refer everything we go through, all the things that fill my heart and my mind, everything, good and bad, everything, we refer it to him and we bring it into his light, so that we live and move and have our being in him and through him and with him. So confession, the Eucharist, and prayer. These are the mainstay of the Christian life. And they come to us by means of Christ's priests. The priest is a sacrament. His whole identity is sacramental, just like a married couple. The priest is a sacrament of Christ's healing and teaching and ministering presence in the world. The priest, as Sir Curivar said, is the Sacred Heart of Jesus seen in a man. And this is not simply when a priest is celebrating sacraments or preaching. His is not a ministry of doing. It is a ministry of presence. The priest then, completely identified with the Sacred Heart of Jesus, is the love of God in the world. Gosh, what a high calling that is. The love of God for mankind in the world. And it's common to call priest father. That is a most sacred title, Father. So the priest there is called upon by the people. We are declaring that you are our Father, so be a father to us, through joy and sorrow, through thick and thin, when it's safe and when it's unsafe. What human father would abandon his family when they were going through the most difficult time? And what sacramental father, what priest would abandon his own family, his children, when they're most in need? That is when he loves them most tenderly. That is when we stay with our families. Whatever happens, we are by their side, not merely ministering, but in our whole presence, our physical presence, next to their hospital beds. If a priest doesn't do that, it's hard to know in what sense he really is a priest. The priest then is this intersection between heaven and earth in his sacramental being. And that is seen most clearly when we come to celebrate the sacred liturgy, when we come to Mass in particular, because the liturgy brings all life together. It exemplifies for us everything that goes on in the world and heaven. We perform it. The people of God and the priests and the ministers and the deacons and the bishops, we all have our place, and our human place is as it is because it shares in a heavenly reality. God mediating his presence to the saints through the ministry of angels. And that is what happens when we come to Mass. God ministering his presence through the ministry of angels. That's why we wear what we wear in the sanctuary. We enter into a holy place. We are no longer to be filled with thoughts of the earth. They must all be put aside. As the cherubic hymn says, let all mortal flesh be silent. So for me as a priest, it helps me to understand how I live, what I wear, what I do. And it's not that I work in my own power, because I know my weakness and poverty, but only in the power of the Lord. Pray that your priests do that they know that they are weak and they are men of confession, both hearing and going, and of prayer. And that their lives, public and private, are lost in oneness with the Blessed Sacrament, the abiding presence of God's love for the world, and pray that we be good fathers, always sacrificing our own wants and even our own needs for the needs of our family, of those who call us by that most sacred title of Father. God bless.